Hello guys, this is Jonathan Steadman, and today guys I'll talk about top 10 reasons why Linux is not perfect. I like the way I was just recording this video earlier ago and I didn't even test it if it was actually working correctly, so sorry about that if we was about to watch it at Premiere. I have to redo this video now because it didn't do my chatting thing, but that's fine. Okay, so here is top 10 reasons why Linux is not perfect. Okay, let's start off with sorry about that if I heard that. Okay, let's start. So softwares and game support is limited. So what I mean by that is that for games that is available for Windows may not be available for Linux, and that is because obviously Linux is more popular. So yeah, if you guys want to install like GTA 5 or something like that, then you guys will have to use Windows to play GTA 5. If you guys if it doesn't work with Wine, they would have to run it in Windows 10. But also it's same with software's compatibility as well, such as Photoshop. You probably won't be able to run Photoshop with Linux, but there's a thing called Wine which allows you to do that. But there's a disadvantage to Wine, and we will be talking about that. But Wine allows you to run Windows applications and games on Linux, but it's not perfect. We'll talk more about it. So yeah, that's not every game is supportive on Linux, and this can be a disadvantage because some people want to play GTA 5 or something like that, but they can't really run it without using any special softwares. Okay, the other thing is that hardware might not work completely good with Linux, and that is kind of true sometimes. But I would say that for most of the time hardware will work with Linux. But there is always a try-it mode, so we can test out with Wi-Fi if it works on that distro, or we can just test out if it takes the hard drives, or we can test if it can output some sound, or if it shut down properly, or if it does reboot properly, or these basic things. If it works completely okay, then we can install it. But if we have some form of issues, such as we cannot connect to the internet because the Wi-Fi adapter is having issues, then maybe try to look for another Linux distro. So yeah, hardware might not work completely good for Linux, but most of the time it will work. But there is a try-it mode which allows you to check. Alright, people think that Linux is for advanced people or nerds. And what I mean by that is that people think that all Linux is basically just a terminal, it's just text. But I kind of disagree with that. The thing about Linux is that yes, we get to use a terminal, but we don't always have to use a terminal. Now everyone can use a graphic user interface. We don't need to have a terminal for anything basically now, just for people who likes to using a terminal now. But yeah, we can do everything with graphic user interface. We can create files here. We can download games and softwares from here. We can even download it from a Firefox website or Chrome website when it's install Firefox or Chrome. But yeah, most people think that's all text based, but it's not true. We can use a graphical user interface. Such we can download Minecraft on here. We can download Spotify, we can download it, and then you can click over here and just press on that install button and then enter a password, and it should be installing, and then we should see it over here once it is installed. This is FileZilla, allows you to share files with people, I do believe. And I never used FileZilla. I think it's by the same company as Mozilla. Right, it's made by Mozilla, I think. But yeah guys, this is FileZilla. We can also get graph user interface way. But yeah, we don't have to use the terminal. Alright, the other thing is that Wine does not always work. For example, MS Access, and that's true. We won't be able to run every game on Linux which will work with Wine. This is just true because it was not made to run on Linux. It was made to run on Windows. Obviously, we'll run into some issues there. But the thing about Wine is that it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to work. But they are improving it to work with the hardware. But for example, if you have a look at MX Access, which is basically a database software, then we will find out that it's not the best to use with Wine. We're better off using Windows 10 with MX Access. such as this. If you want to download Microsoft XS97, which I think is the latest version, then it will be garbage to run. But as you guys can see, it is garbage. But we can download for older versions though without any issues, because 2013 one says it's gold. So yeah, it should run perfectly fine. And there's one comment about it. So yeah, we can do all that. There's 3 results, and I think there will be negative for garbage one. But yeah, this is what you guys should see if you download Microsoft XS or an older version. Yeah, so we can run for older version, but if you need the latest features, then it might be limited. Anyway guys, so that is how come it does not always run perfectly. And I would just say that Wine is great, a great tool, but expect to have some glitches and some bugs and stuff like that. It's not going to work completely okay, but it is getting improved. There's lots of choice, make it harder to switch. I mean by that is that okay, it's going to be very difficult for you to choose what you want to have, such as Linux Mint, if you want to have Ubuntu or something like that, and you don't know which one I want for because I like them both, then we will have to take a while to be able to make a choice, you know. What I normally do is that I would just do a spinny wheel, to be honest, and with all the distros that I like, I would do a spinny wheel, dash off spinning wheel, and then I would just tap onto the spinny wheel and it would just choose me one of the distros that I want. Alright, so it's harder to choose because there's lots of choice out there. Okay, warranty most likely no longer. We've got when installed for OS. That means that we won't be able to get a hard drive replacement if it fails, because obviously install Linux Mint onto it or something like that. I won't be able to get any operating system fixes with it. I would say that Linux is fine. If we've got software errors, then we can just reinstall it and backup with data though. Backup with data and just reinstall for OS. Everything is fine and dandy. There's nothing to worry about, because it's free and it's open source, so we can always just do whatever we want with it. Okay, still low population. 3% of people use Linux, and this is a disadvantage because if there's low population, then less software and games are going to be making. People will be making less software and games available for Linux, as I will see it's pretty much useless. But there's many games and many softwares available for Linux anyway. We can install like Stardew Valley, Terraria, or Minecraft. We can even run CS:GO, but as we explained earlier, that I won't be able to run every game and every softwares. Linux was basically made to run open source softwares anyway, not really proprietary softwares, but it can run proprietary softwares. It can run Unity, as long as the graphics card supports it. People do not feel comfortable installing a new OS. Well, they think it might break their systems or something like that, which it might do, but it won't break the hardware. It might just cause data loss if we do something really silly. But yeah, most likely it will be straightforward to install. And if it does not install, if it shows up an error while installing, maybe you have a bad drive, or maybe because maybe it was corrupted when we tried to install it to a USB stick. In that case, you have to reinstall onto the USB stick or check the health of the disk. But in most cases, it would have installed properly and it will work completely fine. Okay, so we will need to find alternative softwares to get our work done. Waste your time to learn how to use it. So yeah, basically we'll need to use alternative softwares such as GIMP. GIMP is something I would recommend to people if they want to switch to Linux but still need to use Photoshop. Then GIMP should be fine. So GIMP is basically the open source version of Photoshop, as you guys can see. This is GIMP, which I truly do recommend to anyone. GIMP is pretty good. But yeah, people would have to learn the whole interface and how to use it and stuff like that, and it could just interfere with their job. Okay, so extra, we may get issues with OS such as not being able to shut down. And yeah, we might not be able to shut down for the system, but that will be a kernel related issue. Just downgrade a kernel and it should be fine. But I wouldn't worry about it. with when we get issues with OS, because I never get issues with Linux Mint personally. Maybe it does freeze up sometimes, but it's just a low end PC. I do heavy tasks on that, so could expect. And it only has 4 GB of RAM, so it's not really a powerful computer. But it's running Linux Mint, so it should be fine. And now, guys, this is some reasons why people won't install Linux, mostly due to hardware and software compatibility issues. This is mostly the reason, but you know, there's always alternative softwares anyway. So yeah, mostly it is due to software or hardware issues. I never personally had any issues with Linux. Okay, now what I'm going to do next, on the next episode, is that I will be installing FreeBSD, and now we can do something more fun than doing this video. I mean, it was very difficult for me to put down some bad things about it, because there's hardly anything bad about it. Most of this came from the internet anyway. But yeah, this is .10, disadvantage of using Linux. Half of this I would say that is true, but when it comes to hardware support, it will most likely run. And as I explained, there's try it mode, so we can just try out for OS and see if it works completely fine. If it doesn't, then that's fine. You can switch to another distro that will work for you. But most likely it will work for you. We won't have any issues with Linux. Linux was made to run on any computer anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that, unless if you need to run like Photoshop or something like that, then maybe stick on Windows and install Linux on a VM or do a dual boot. But you guys should be fine with using Linux. Anyway, guys, so now on to the next episode, we'll be installing FreeBSD. So I think there will be a manual here which you can follow, and book, and it should tell us how to install it getting started. So what we're going to do is going to go and install this. You guys can follow me while I'm downloading this. This VM will get at least 30 gigabytes of disk space at least. So it's going to talk about the introduction to FreeBSD, and we're going to be installing a desktop environment, and we're going to be just basically just having fun with this OS. So guys, I would like to thank you guys so much for watching, and hope that you guys will like for our next episode a lot more better, as this one is a bit I'm not really a big fan of this video, to be honest. I don't really like talking bad things about Linux. Linux is just perfect to me. But yeah, there's only 2 issues for me really. Well, only one issue, which is software compatibility for college. Personally, I needed to run MS Access for college, but I couldn't. That's why it's always my example though. But yeah, I had to do something alternative for college, which was LibreOffice Base, and I had to do everything by myself. But thank God I went back to college and I was able to do MS Access, so I was able to do what other people were doing there in the course. But I now have a Windows 10 PC, so it's not a problem anymore anyway. Yeah, well guys probably know that I've got a Windows 10 PC because I probably watch my videos. But yeah, oh my god, I don't want hotkeys, go away. But yeah guys, this is basically what I will be doing next episode, is downloading FreeBSD. Thanks guys so much for watching, please like and subscribe, and yeah guys, I'll see you all next time, bye.